Hello and welcome. I'm Vijay Srinivasan and this is Talking Sense with Srini. As elections in Tamil Nadu heats up, actor turned politician Vijay continues to be on the spotlight. This time reportedly for a potential alliance with the National Democratic Alliance. Joining us to decode this further is our editor-in-chief, S. Srinivasan. As far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, the elections are closing in, and uh, alliances have more or less formed right now. You have the Congress and DMK coming together once again, and the DMK alliance seems formidable. We also have the NDA, which is the like-minded parties have come together. But and Vijay still remains the X factor there. If you rewind a little bit and you see that Vijay was also seen as some kind of a spoiler in election 2026. You think that has changed right now?
Well, not at all. He still continues to be a spoiler, but then you can say, you can kind of grade it. Is it a shade less or a shade more than what he was earlier? It's interesting. Today, the Prime Minister was here. He's still here. He just landed in Trichy.
That's right.
And so it's very clear that election dates are going to be announced soon. And we discussed Vijay about 2 months ago. That was a time when BJP was pretty annoyed. Prime Minister Modi had made his visits and he was a bit worried that, the alliance hasn't taken shape. And Amit Shah came following his visit. He met few leaders. That time he actually went back without meeting EPS, Edappadi Palaniswami of AIDMK. But then since a lot of other things have happened and more things have now concretized. The alliances have fallen into place. The DMK alliance has taken shape, as you correctly said. Congress, which is playing footsie and creating some kind of a crisis for DMK alliance, also fallen into place. Though there are differences still remain on the question of who will contest from which seat, because that distribution hasn't fully happened yet, and that pulls and pressure is still there. But overall, there is an alliance in place as far as DMK is concerned. It seems to be a formidable alliance, at least on paper. But on the other hand, AIDMK also managed to put together an alliance. But despite all this, it seems that NDA is still not very happy because the estimate is the gap between DMK alliance and AIDMK alliance as on paper, as it stands today, could be 5 to 6% or more. And that's what they have to bridge. And that's where Vijay, whose party TVK, comes in as an important factor. So it continues to be an X factor. But one thing is clear, whether it will damage DMK more or it will damage AIDMK more, the answer is probably it will damage AIDMK more, because that's why NDA is more concerned about it, and they certainly want Vijay on his side, on their side. Whether Vijay will actually bite the bullet, join them, we don't know. As of now, there have been no indications that TVK will go and join NDA. But the efforts are on. You can see that, you can read various signals, you can look at various developments and conclude that efforts are on. Whether it will be productive for NDA, whether actually Vijay and his party join NDA, and then if he does so, what will happen? These are questions which will come up subsequently. But as of now, that this is what the situation is, that there is a strong alliance headed by, the ruling DMK, and then there is an opposing alliance headed by AIDMK, which is NDA, which is being actually being kind of very strongly promoted by BJP. So these are the two major alliances, and then DMK alliance seem to be slightly ahead with an advantage, though they are in power now for the last 5 years. They seem to be having a slightly advantageous edge over the other. That's the situation currently.
Talking about Vijay, he also seems to be in a tough situation right now. Because of the back-to-back CBA summons that's coming in, and the Jananayagan filmmakers versus the CBFC case, and where there's no breakthrough yet, and most importantly is the divorce case that's been filed by his wife Sangeeta Sonalingam. So, which has come as some kind of a shocker for the TVK supporters there. So, but you think this could impact him politically in the upcoming elections?
Well, Vijay is, as you correctly said, he's going through various twists and turns. So it's almost like a movie script for him. And I am sure he didn't imagine this way. The major crisis came when there was this Karur stampede in which about 41 people died, total 42, I think. So that was seen as a massive crisis. That is still not, he's not out of woods as far as the investigations of that stampede is concerned, because the CBI has now got into it. He did wanted investigation which should be done by investigative agencies who are not under control of the state administration. So therefore he wanted a central administration, somebody from Delhi coming and investigating, maybe a court monitored. But then it has now turned out to in a different way. It is, but there is the CBI, famously called the caged parrot, which is there. Now, therefore, that gives its own elements. So, what way CBI investigates this stampede? Where does the investigation go? Is a very crucial point to look at. Now, interestingly, when he got summons, he decided, because Vijay is still included there as a witness. So he agreed to go, and he has met CBI officers. Another set of summons have been issued, and he'll be going, I think, on 15th of this month. Yeah. He'll be going there to appear again. Now, this is, to make him go up and down, that he should face this in Delhi when the election campaign would have begun, isn't a very pretty sight for him. Because why I was referring to Prime Minister visit, because this in a way is indicative that election dates could be announced anytime soon, because PM was here, and therefore there are expectations that following his visit there will be announcements. For him, it's not a good thing that when he should have been actively preparing for campaigning, he goes to Delhi and appears in front of CBI and answer various questions. And obviously a sword hangs over him. Which way the investigations go, what happens to him, one doesn't know. So it's actually a bit of a troubled spot for him. The second question, like you said, is his movie, Jananayagan. Now, this would have been his last movie after 35, 40 years putting in film industry. His career. Probably he thought he could sign off grand, in a grand manner by having this kind of a politically tinged movie with a certain message, but that movie is not coming through. You saw what happened earlier after a lot of court, moving things up and down. Finally, it was expected that something will happen on that. Interestingly, or rather mysteriously, one of the board members has now said that, look, he's unwell and he has taken a leave. And as a result, this is further got postponed. So, Jananayagam, once the elections are announced, the movie won't be really saying that, look, new code of conduct, model code of conduct is imposed, and this is a political movie with a political message, therefore it won't be released. So more or less, it appears that movie won't see the light of the day before the elections. So that's another setback. So movie is a setback for him, personal setback that he couldn't end his career as in a grand manner as he perhaps planned. Second is, like you said, the CBI is still the Damocles sword hangs over his head. And the third is his own personal problem, which you said, a divorce, which probably his wife wanted from him, accusing him of fidelity. And that has suddenly sprung up, and the timing wasn't very good for him, because
when he should be... Elections.
Yeah, so, he did try on Women's Day to make light of things, saying that, it's not a big issue, I will handle it. But it seems to be backfiring. Then he, some people, got another actress involved in that, and he went and attended a marriage along with her. That again didn't go well, because there have been reactions, counter-reactions. So things have not been, from a perception point of view, it's not been going very well for Vijay. What is it? There seems to be certain kind of whether it's a coordinated effort or all this being planned around him. Is it a conspiracy? I won't be able to say, but you can certainly say that one of the things which Vijay entered this election was a very clean image. That he's somebody who's got a very nice image, very clean image. So, but if you look at the episodes, various things, what is happening, one is the income tax one, where he's accused of actually evading income tax for a certain movie. But that case is closed now. That's more or less over now. And then he has to pay a penalty, I think about rupees 5 crores or something. Then the second thing is this whole actor thing and his divorce, case filed by his wife. That's another thing which kinds of presents an image of him. He's not a family man in that sense. So these are all probably when it plays out in public life, especially around very crucial elections for him. So it does send a negative, it has a negative connotation because it was expected a whole lot of women voters are going to back him. Whether they will hold back because the circumstances in which the entire thing happened. No, see, the audience are also used to the way these personal issues shape up in the movie world. They are, many of them are mature enough to understand. Because end of the day, people do see these things, with their own perception. But here, what seems to be happening is, if there is a impression which gains ground that certainly Vijay's action wasn't, what they thought, especially women, that something which he shouldn't have done. If that kind of perception builds up, which is very difficult to say which way it will go. But then if there is a negative perception builds up against him, it won't be very good for him. So that's another issue now hanging over his head, which he'll have to tackle. So there are a number of such issues which have come together for Vijay. Not so opportune moment for him, a very inappropriate moment for him. The other thing which happened, even if he wants to move politically, he has not managed to put together an alliance. That's very clear from day one. No one has joined him except one person, Sengotian, who came from AIDMK. But again, he's only one person who was, sacked from that party, and therefore he came and joined here. Otherwise, TVK hasn't succeeded in attracting anybody. It was felt initially the VCK would come and join. VCK had a chat, and then it was expected maybe they will do, but they didn't. After that Congress, it seems that he was very much expecting that Congress party would join them. I mean, even a party like Congress, which always, as you would have known, at the receiving end of such negotiations, in this case, there is a perception that probably TVK was used by Congress as a negotiating chip, and they perhaps managed to get a better deal. I mean, this is one way of looking at it. So even they seem to be out of their hands now. So TVK stands without any allies. And going into this election without any alliance is a very precarious situation. And that's where NDA looks at an opportunity. It's an opportunity for them. If they are able to win back TVK into their fold, things may change dramatically for them. They may hope that this 5 to 6% gap, they may, if not completely bridge, even if they can marginally improve, it will be a good thing for them. Tamil Nadu, the outcome is always decisive. It's this way or that way. There's never a hanging decision. They never hand out. So the voters are very clear here. So whether it'll it'll swing completely the other way is a one big question hanging. Because of TVK still being a factor. But I still won't jump to any conclusion and say that, okay, is it a good decision with TVK? Should he do that? Shouldn't he do that? What are the, if you had to do a SWOT analysis, how it would help him? I mean, those are the questions which I think we should seriously consider.
No, I'm going to ask you this question because you're a seasoned journalist. You've seen lots of politicians in the last 4 decades of your career. You think, there's this whole idea of the divorce case that's been filed by his wife. How do you think that news media should be approaching this news? Is it something that's personal, or you think media should and can and discuss and debate about this?
Well, it's actually a pretty personal issue. So it's better that media avoids because otherwise it becomes a gossip. But in this case, what has happened is slightly different. Like I was saying, it has come at a time when somebody who's heading into election with a clean image, because he's making allegations against DMK, two allegations. One is corruption, and the second is that they are actually trying to impose a family rule. These are the two major allegations.
Yeah.
And he calls them as, political enemies. And then on the other side, you have, BJP, whom he calls as ideological enemy. Now, the whole question, which I said earlier, I framed it as a personal issue. Should it be dragged into an election issue? When somebody with such a clean image wants to enter an electoral fray, and then suddenly, out of blue, his wife comes along and makes a allegation, which is very, very pointed allegation against him, that she wanted a kind of a divorce and it hasn't happened. Now, that puts a question mark. Electorate, especially since all these elections subsequently which we saw, everybody, all the political parties are trying to woo women voters.
That's right, yeah.
And whether it is through various schemes, job scheme, freebies, whichever way. So the discovery of women voters has happened in India. And if there is a move where a woman is in the eye of the storm and she makes such allegation,
But
that
dent his
becomes
image.
that could dent his image. Therefore, it's an issue which, as media, we cannot completely avoid saying it is that this would amount to tabloid journalism. But I think we still should be careful rather than making any judgments or making any calls or saying things which may sound judgmental. We should avoid that. We should still have to report the basic facts. So what are the basic facts? That she filed a case and he has given a response to that, which I earlier said in the Women's Day. What shape it will take, what kind of impression whole thing creates among the women voters is something we'll have to wait and see. But I think this issue cannot be left alone, because someone who aspires to be the chief minister, who wants to be in the numero uno position in this state, and Tamil Nadu is a very progressive state. Women are highly educated and they do understand these issues. Their view on this is important, and therefore they should be made aware of what is happening. It is for them finally to take a call as an electors.
Okay. Coming to the crux of our discussion today, it's the, it's also reported on the federal and Tamil Nadu's leading magazine, Junior Vigadan, has also put out a cover story today that senior leaders within the Tamilaga Vettri Kazhagam are also in favor of Vijay having an potential alliance with the NDA, and that's the news, that's the buzz. So is an NDA already formidable? Why do they need Vijay?
I think it's a very good question, but let's look back at Tamil Nadu, the political scenario in Tamil Nadu. It is a bit it'll be a little naive if some of us think that that's how the distant image of Tamil Nadu is. Any actor who stands in an election gets elected. It's not like that. It doesn't happen like that. If you look back, it's not as if MGR was from cine world. He straight away from celluloid, he walked into political world and he was elected. It wasn't like that. He was a political activist. He was in a political party. He was in Congress. He was in DMK, and he participated in various movements. And then he's come up as a leader.
Yeah.
And then later he became chief minister because he divided and then launched a separate party.
That's right.
So there is a history behind that. Similarly, it is not as if Jayalalitha suddenly overnight became some sensation and therefore she jumped out of movie screen and became chief minister. It wasn't like that. She has gone through a certain rigor. And so
you think that's what is happening with Vijay?
It's not. So for a number of days, people didn't know what his ideology is. People kept on asking. Finally, then he clarified at one press conference, again in one line saying, these guys are my political enemies and those guys are my ideological enemies. And if you call BJP as an ideological enemy and then overnight you go and join them, because Tamil Nadu's ideology is based on what? It's basically, one has to realize, Dravidianism, Dravidian ideology, the political ideology, very deeply steeped in the state, because that's the bread and butter of the DMK movement.
Social justice.
The social justice movement. And the politics here has seen that for the last 50, 60 years. We may quibble about how much of that has actually translated on the ground, how much benefit, we can have an argument over that. But it certainly has a huge impact. Electoral arithmetic and everything is drawn on that. It has given better education to a whole lot of people. It has given health facilities. It has improved social indicators. So there are a whole lot of things happened because of that movement. And that has, in a way, bedrock of, the politics here. That's why, Dravidian word is added everywhere. TVK also has its Kazhagam in that, because so it's not as if it's the whole politics is divide of this entire movement and its fallout. And again, let me bring back, when you say federalism is important for a state like Tamil Nadu, because this particular ideology propagates that. It talks about also the language issue. It also talks about other cultural issues. These are all very important for the electorate there. And therefore, the politics here in such a way, designed that various pressure groups, various community groups, various, caste groups, religious, everybody has a better understanding of demanding their own share in this electoral arithmetic. So this democracy here is actually very well spread, and they know what is it they have to demand in that. That's why there are so many political parties there, and it's not one single party which comes to power. It's a coalition of parties which come to power here, whether it's DMK or AIDMK, whatever it is. So that feeling is there, and that is what forms the basis and bedrock of Tamil Nadu politics, and that we shouldn't miss it. So how much TVK has managed to add to that, or how much he has perpetuated, is what we have to see. So if you start imagining that, have you walked into the post-ideological, politics, which happened in a way in Delhi, that Arvind Kejriwal could actually cross that aisle and make it a post-ideological party. That's what it is being said. But in his case also, he was part of a political movement for a long time. And then you saw what happened suddenly, he could change it. The other cases where suddenly you have someone becoming chief minister is Andhra Pradesh, where you had, N.T. Ramarao. Again, N.T. Ramarao led a certain movement. It is, Telugu pride on which,
that's right,
he built his entire movement. So all these things have a certain history. Vijay politically hasn't done anything except giving few speeches, and then he ran into problem because of what happened, the stampede in Karur. So he hasn't yet come out truly as a full-fledged political leader. Now, if you had to look at the neighboring state, Andhra Pradesh, what happened there, Chandrababu Naidu and Pawan Kalyan, they're in alliance. He's a deputy CM there. So the formula here being formulated is, can we replicate that in Tamil Nadu? Can he be given 50, 60 seats? Can he be given deputy chief minister's post? And will he agree to be part of the NDA alliance? I mean, those are the talks which are going on. I think if Vijay tries to take that path, politically, I would say it will be suicidal for him. I mean, it would better serve if he maintains the words which are used in politics. Politicians can always change and they can give rationale to every argument. But it would be too soon for him if he starts and attempts something like this. I think some of these things would also be weighing in his mind and his strategists when they are doing a SWOT analysis, whether he should join NDA or he shouldn't, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages. And the big question is, age is still on his side. Can he wait? Is it the last election for him? Can he test himself alone? Or would he like to be part of an alliance and get tested? I mean, all those things are all, I'm sure, weighing upon his mind. So these are the questions still wide open as far as these elections are concerned.
No, and since you brought N.T. Ramarao into the pictures, I think a little bit of background on why we're talking about this. The article also speaks that that Pawan Kalyan, the Deputy Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, is somebody who's kind of doing all the dealings, largely speculative. Once again, just for viewers to know, between Vijay and BJP there, for an NDA alliance. to come together. Where he says, he brings an example of Ciranjeevi and how Ciranjeevi also witnessed a lot of mass mobilization and all that when he, when he took a political plunge, and later he has to sort of give away his party to the Congress later, and even Pawan Kalyan had lost both of his seats, and now after an alliance with the with the BJP and the TDP, he's become a deputy chief minister. He says politics is a completely different ballgame. An alliance might actually work. Do you think a deputy chief minister post and 40 seats, or maybe higher or lower than that, isn't that a lucrative offer for Vijay, you think, or you still think it's a suicide?
Yeah, again, I mean, Pawan Kalyan is giving from his own experience, and it's not as if Pawan Kalyan didn't do various experiments. His brother also tried. Pawan himself launched his own political party. I mean, his own ideology improved over the years. His own formulation of finally coming to this and becoming a kind of a Kapu party. A lot of things happened in between. It's not as if it was an overnight decision. He has also gone through the motions of formulating this before he, formed an alliance. And in Andhra Pradesh, the situation is slightly different from Tamil Nadu. As I said earlier, there is a certain political bedrock here. There is a certain ideological underpinning of its ideology is still there. Though that Dravidian ideology has diminished over the years. It doesn't have the same power as it used to be. It has actually deteriorated over the years. And therefore, that's where BJP also sends an opportunity. Tamil Nadu also has a bit of, freedom during freedom movement, the nationalistic feeling. Those feelings are also there. Therefore, the Congress also had enjoyed a certain base here. So the political ground of Tamil Nadu is pretty different from what it is in Andhra Pradesh. So to draw, one can certainly discuss as a case study. Vijay can certainly look Pawan Kalyan as a good case study for him. But
he is playing on a different pitch altogether.
Yeah, it's a different pitch, and you cannot just replicate that model here. That's what I feel.
Thank you very much, sir. Insightful talking to you.
Thank you.